Welcome to r/Am I the Butthole, where OP steals all the money from his dad's estate, making the will useless. Today's episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN. You'd be surprised by how much your location affects your online content. Did you know that all of your video streaming platforms lock content based on your country? Yep, even YouTube. It's not just content that changes based on your location. Online prices fluctuate as well. If a website sees that you're logging in from the US, they might inflate their prices just because they can. That's why I like to use a VPN service like ExpressVPN. In addition to protecting your online privacy, ExpressVPN allows you to change your location so that you can avoid region restrictions on websites you visit. Here's a few shows and movies that you can unblock in America by changing your location: Shawshank Redemption, The Godfather, Rick and Morty, and Sherlock. By changing your IP address to any of 105 countries, you can watch thousands of new shows on Netflix or Disney+, hunt for savings by comparing prices from different countries, and defeat censorship to access a free and open internet. Find out how you can get up to 4 extra months by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/r/. Am I the butthole for emptying out my dad's estate, basically making his will useless? I'm a 48-year-old guy, and I've helped my father keep his business afloat for years. I didn't mind. His support when I was young is the only reason I'm where I am in life financially. I was able to graduate debt-free and start my own business straight out of university. My stepmother, on the other hand, was never my biggest fan. She thought that I should have done more for her and her sons. I was already out of the house when my father married her, so I never felt like I owed her anything, much less her useless kids. Both of my stepbrothers ended up working for my dad's company, but they're useless. They spent most of their time servicing clients, taking clients to lunch and golfing with them, stuff like that. My dad needed help a few times, and rather than let them go under or go to the bank, I gave him loans at a very low interest rate. That way, if he couldn't pay me back, I could write them off as bad debt and get a tax deduction. I know now that he never mentioned the loans to her or her kids. And when I say kids, these are men in their 30s. My dad got sick 2 years ago, and my stepbrothers actually had to work. The company was pretty solid now, and they couldn't screw it up too badly. My dad and his accountant were still in day-to-day control. He just couldn't go into the office. 6 months ago, my father rewrote his will. He left everything to my stepmother and stepbrothers. I was left token sentimental gifts. I don't need the money, but I could smell the BS. So I sold my loans to a business competitor of my father, with the provisions that I would personally make the payments until my dad passed away. So basically, the competitor would get the company when my dad died. I got my money back, so I was happy. When my dad passed, I got my stuff from his estate, just photo albums and other stuff of that nature. My stepmother got the house and a retirement fund, and the three of them got the company. They came to me about the loans after they figured out how much my dad owed me. They wanted to keep the same deal, basically 1% interest and really lax views on collecting payments. I told them I'd already divested myself of any involvement in my dad's company and that they had to deal with a different creditor who would probably want to collect in full or renegotiate. They think that I'm a butthole for saddling them with debt instead of the solvent cash cow they thought they were getting. It's still a viable company, and they can go to a bank themselves and get a loan to pay it off. Then they have a company that has debt payments to make. There's lots of good companies like that. Also, I think I exaggerated in the title. I didn't empty out the estate. My stepmother has enough money to last her until she dies, unless she spends it foolishly on herself and her sons. And my stepbrothers both have shares in a good company that has an excellent accountant. If they actually decide to work, it'll support them and their families forever. Hold on, so the stepmom tried to screw you over by literally taking the entire inheritance, and now she's upset that she's got the bad end of the deal? For people who don't understand the business stuff, just to be super clear, leaving the stepmother and stepbrothers with debt isn't as bad as it seems because it's not their personal debt, it's the company's debt. So if they can't afford to pay it off, then the company just goes bankrupt and they walk away basically the same way they came into it. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. This was a very savvy move. Am I the butthole for refusing to work things out with my fiance because my life is better now that his daughter isn't around me? I know the title makes me look like a butthole. I accept that. But for full transparency, I wanted to be completely honest here. Basically, I've been with my fiance, Matt, for 8 years. He has a 14-year-old daughter, Vivian. I tried so hard to involve Vivian in everything. I enrolled her in all of these extracurricular programs and showed up to every single event. I spent thousands of dollars on things she wanted and needed. I brought her out one-on-one to do girly things like get our hair and nails done or even go shopping. One-on-one dinners wherever she wanted to eat. She literally complained about everything. Every time I brought her out to eat, she complained loudly about the food being trash. Every single time we went and did our hair and nails, she would complain that it turned out bad. Complained on Christmas and asked if she had more stuff coming because she only had 16 items under the tree. Literally everything on her wish list. And she was grateful but disappointed because she expected more from us. Tie this in with other things, like all of my stuff going missing constantly. My makeup that she had been told not to touch several times became free game for her. My hairbrush, that I also told her not to touch, was always left on the counter with giant chunks of her hair left in it. All her hair products and makeup sit right beside mine in the bathroom, and despite her stuff being higher quality, she still uses mine. She literally spaces out whenever I tried to talk to her about it. Her eyes would just gloss over and she would stare right through me, nod her head and say, or tell me why it wasn't a big deal and she was tired of me creating drama with her. My clothing, yeah, half that stuff is missing, and I would catch her wearing them and she would blatantly lie and gaslight me by saying, "You literally gave me this and now you're gonna flip out?" She just had zero respect for me, and that was obvious. Her dad did absolutely step in every single time and reprimand her, but it never got better. It all came to a head over a damn bowl of tuna. So my fiance and I have a 2-year-old and she's been extremely ill. I'm so busy dealing with fussiness all day and seemingly all night long that I simply forgot to feed myself. So 3 days ago, I get the baby to sleep and go lounge in the living room and start making myself some tuna for crackers around 11 p.m. Vivian comes out and sees me making it. She gets herself a drink and goes back to her room. The baby wakes up, so I put my tuna in the fridge. I get the baby back to sleep, and when I came out, Vivian is on the couch eating my tuna. It was the last of the tuna, and I was starving and really craving it. I didn't eat dinner because I didn't like the meal that I made for Vivian and Matt, so I snapped a bit. I asked why she'd be touching my food when she already ate dinner, and she literally just rolled her eyes, tossed my bowl on the counter, and slammed off to her bedroom. I immediately woke up Matt and told him I was done. Him and his daughter needed to get out of my house by the following day and go stay elsewhere. Anywho, he went to his mom's with Vivian, and holy F has my house been peaceful since they left. Matt keeps asking if he can come home and talk, but I told him I honestly just don't know if I want this to work out, because my life has been nothing but peaceful without Vivian here. He keeps saying things like, "You don't mean that. You love her. You've been around for more than half her life." But I really, truly have come to the conclusion that I do not like that girl, and I love my life now that she's not part of it. Am I the butthole for throwing away 8 years and a very loving relationship over his kid? OP, Vivian sounds miserable. I don't blame you. It's just daily, constant drama and stress and disrespect. I'm amazed you lasted this long. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving Vivian 2.5 out of 5 buttholes. And also your fiance 2 out of 5 buttholes because even though he did reprimand her, it didn't really matter because the behavior continued. So he was just straight up being a bad father and a bad partner. Am I the butthole for getting the man who sexually harassed me fired right before Christmas? A little over 2 weeks ago, my family and I went away for Thanksgiving weekend. A few days after the holiday, I was walking my service dog when one of the groundskeepers followed me up a hill, used his van to block my path, and began to ask me questions about my service animal. Mind you, we were essentially in the middle of the woods, with no one else around at this time in the morning. I answered his questions, then he tried to distract my service animal. I asked politely for him to please stop trying to distract her, explaining that she's working, and to please leave her alone. He made it very clear that he was not going to do that, and then he asked me where I was staying. I told him that I would not be telling him that. He's a complete stranger. He then began to ask me a series of sexually inappropriate questions, and I repeatedly told him, "Leave me alone," as loud as I possibly could, while trying to figure out how to get away from him. The guy then told me that he was going to sit right there and wait to see which house I went into, and he did just that. I managed to finally speed walk around the back of his car and get a couple of 100 feet away, in the opposite direction of where I needed to go. For about 15 minutes, me and my service dog sat outside until someone else came outside, and we were able to get inside the house. Once I was able to calm down, I reported what happened, and was recently informed that he was let go. While speaking to a cousin, she asked if anything ever came of the report, and I told her. She then went off on me, telling me how horrible I was for getting someone fired so close to Christmas, and that it wasn't like he actually touched me. I know in my heart that reporting him was the right thing to do, and I wasn't seeking him being fired. But no one should be able to treat people the way that I was treated. But now I've got her stupid voice in the back of my head, making me doubt my actions. Yo, what's the cousin's logic? Sexual harassment is okay when it's close to the holidays? Huh? So I'm sure she wouldn't mind if someone sexually harassed her in December, right? OP, you're totally in the clear. 0 out of 5 buttholes. Sorry that happened to you. Am I the butthole for breaking up with my boyfriend because he hasn't seen his child since April? My boyfriend is 34 and I'm a 29-year-old woman. We've been seeing each other since last December. We began dating casually, but our relationship became serious in June. He has an 8-year-old daughter, and I was quite apprehensive about dating a man with a child, but he sold himself as a great present dad, and I bought it. Occasionally, I would ask after his daughter, but I didn't want to seem overly enmeshed in that part of his life since our relationship is fairly new. The issue began at the end of November when I received my niece's Santa wish list. She's 8. Which prompted me to ask my boyfriend about his daughter's wish list, seeing that she was the same age as my niece. He told me he hadn't received it, and I advised him to ask for it soon, or risk having all the cool stuff selling out and disappointing his daughter. He told me he would. A week or so later, I asked my boyfriend if he would like to join me December 13th for gift shopping, especially for my niece. He declined, and I asked him if he had received his daughter's wish list. He told me that his daughter didn't want a gift because her love language is quality time. I told him that I'd never heard of a young child refusing a Christmas gift. The conversation quickly degenerated into an argument where he accused me of being obsessed with his daughter and insinuating that I believe that I know his daughter better than he does. His overreaction arose some suspicions within me, so I decided that I needed to reach out to his daughter's mother. Once I found his ex's TikTok account, I scrolled through her page and found a post with the caption, "Making my daughter's birthday extra special, so she forgets that her daughter didn't show up again." I hesitated quite a bit before I sent her a DM. I introduced myself as the girlfriend of her baby daddy and explained that I don't mean to cause any trouble, but I wanted to clarify a couple of things that I heard from my boyfriend. She took a couple of days to reply to my DM, and she was obviously quite hesitant, but she did agree to have a call with me. She asked me what my boyfriend had told me about their relationship, and I told her that my boyfriend told me that they had dated briefly, and the child was conceived accidentally. She laughed and told me that she and my boyfriend had been in a serious relationship for 3 years, and the child was very much planned. Their relationship issues began in the second trimester when my boyfriend started questioning paternity and demanding a paternity test while she was pregnant. Her ex was concerned for the safety of the child and told him that he can do the test once the baby is born. He moved out of their shared home while she was pregnant and didn't attend the birth of his child. Once the child was born, he didn't attend a few family court hearings to establish paternity, but when he eventually did, it was proven that he was the father. Allegedly, he's been a deadbeat father ever since, not supporting his daughter financially or in any other way, and he last saw his daughter in April. After giving it some thought, I sent a text to my boyfriend from my parents' home where I spent Christmas, where I told him that I've decided to end things based on what his ex alleges. He's been calling me nonstop, asking for chances to talk and explain his side of the story, but this is too much for me. Am I the butthole? OP, in the title, you indicated that your problem with your boyfriend is that he hasn't seen his child since April, but honestly, it seems like the actual reason to break up with him is the constant lying and just general douchebaggery. You got a lot of options, honestly. You can just sort of pick and choose the reasons for breaking up, but yeah, you should break up. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. That was r/Am I the Butthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.